All right, so get this. So we're diving into AI that can basically teach itself how to get smarter.
Oh.
Yeah, especially when it has to deal with tons of information.
Like it reads a whole bunch and then boom, gets better at figuring things out.
Exactly. And the research paper that kind of blew my mind, it's called Large Language Models Can Self-Improve in Long Context Reasoning.
Catchy title.
Right. So we're all familiar with those large language models, these AI systems that can already do some crazy things with text, right?
Like summarizing a whole book in a few bullet points, it's wild.
But imagine if they could level up their thinking on their own.
That changes everything.
Right. Think about it. You've got reports for work research,
Yeah.
for that project you're working on, or even just trying to keep up with, that hobby you're super into.
Like my sourdough bread baking obsession. I can never read enough.
Exactly. So what if your AI assistant could not only summarize all that stuff for you, but actually understand all the arguments and connections just by reading it?
It'd be like having a superpowered study buddy.
Okay, but hold on. AI is already pretty smart, right?
Yeah.
It can find that one super specific fact buried in a mountain of text.
True. They're good at that specific stuff.
So what's the problem then?
Well, think about it the way we solve problems. We don't just jump to the answer. We think it through, maybe make a few mistakes along the way.
We kind of wander around the problem a bit.
Exactly. And that's what AI struggles with, that multi-step reasoning.
It's like they can ace a multiple choice test, but totally blank on the essay questions.
Perfect analogy. They know the facts, but they can't really connect the dots.
Okay, so how do we fix that?
Well, the researchers found that just by asking the AI to think step by step.
Like really, just telling it to slow down.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it made a huge difference.
I guess sometimes the simplest solutions are the best, huh?
Right. They tested it on all these challenging tasks, really pushing these AI models to their limits, and asking it to think step by step made them way better at reasoning.
Fascinating. Did they try any other tricks to make it think better?
Oh yeah, they experimented with all sorts of prompting techniques, like asking it to find the key facts first and then reason based on that, or even like making a plan before tackling the problem.
So not just thinking step by step, but thinking about how to think step by step.
Exactly. It's meta thinking for AI.
So did those fancier prompts work even better?
Sometimes, yeah, it really depended on the task and the AI model they were using, but making the AI more deliberate in how it reasoned, that made a big difference.
Okay, so we're making progress, but this is where it gets really wild. They found that if you have the AI generate multiple answers to the same question, the best answer is often way better than the first one it gives you.
It's like brainstorming, but for AI.
So the AI is giving multiple answers, like it's unsure. I thought these systems were supposed to be super confident,
It's not about uncertainty, it's more like exploring different ways of thinking.
like trying out different strategies and
Right.
seeing what sticks.
Exactly. And often within those multiple answers, there's a gem that's way better than the initial response.
Okay, I'm hooked. But how do we find that gem? Do we have to read through all those answers? Talk about information overload.
Don't worry, that's where SEALONG comes in.
SEALONG, what's that?
It's a method the researchers developed to help the AI not only generate multiple answers, but also figure out which one is most likely to be correct.
So it's like AI quality control.
Exactly. And it's all based on consistency.
So if the AI keeps coming up with similar answers, it's probably on the right track.
Right. Think about it when you're researching something and multiple sources agree on a point, you're more likely to trust it.
Makes sense. So the AI is basically doing its own fact-checking.
Pretty much, SEALONG has two main parts, self-supervision and fine-tuning. First, the AI generates a bunch of different answers.
Got it. I had like an AI brainstorming session.
Then comes the cool part. SEALONG scores those answers based on how much they agree with each other.
It's like the AI is saying, hey, these answers all seem to be saying similar things. They're probably more reliable.
Exactly. It's evaluating its own thinking.
Very impressive. But you mentioned fine-tuning. What's that all about?
That's where the learning happens. The AI takes those high-scoring answers and uses them to get even smarter.
So it's learning how to learn. The SEALONG thing sounds pretty groundbreaking. Does it actually work?
It does. They tried SEALONG on several different AI systems, and it consistently made them better at handling these complex tasks with multiple documents.
Wow, so we've got AI that can analyze information, think step by step, and even judge its own answers. This is feeling very sci-fi in a good way. But why should the listener care about all this? What does it mean for them?
Imagine your AI assistant actually getting smarter over time, learning from the way you think and the information you work with.
It's like having a personalized AI tutor. but this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we're just getting started with this deep dive.
This topic, we could go on forever. Where do we go from here?
So one of the most exciting things they're looking at now is AI designing its own plug-in learning prompts.
Whoa, hold on. So the AI could figure out the best questions to ask itself to learn even more.
Exactly. Like imagine the AI saying, hey, if I ask myself this question, I'll understand this whole thing way better.
That's next level stuff.
Yeah.
AI guiding its own learning. We might be getting into Skynet territory here.
Uh-huh, maybe. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right back to reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap, we've seen that those large language models, they're already powerful, but we can make them even better at reasoning.
Yeah, just by getting them to think more carefully.
And that SEALONG thing, pretty clever, huh? Self-supervision and fine-tuning, unlocking the AI's potential to learn from its own wins.
It's like giving it the tools to become a self-made genius.
And the coolest part, this isn't some far-off future. This is happening right now.
It really is mind-blowing.
It makes you wonder about the implications for, how we work, learn, just interact with the world.
Absolutely. The potential is huge.
And you know what? This whole thing has got me thinking about all the knowledge that you, the listener, have.
Oh, yeah.
All those notes you've taken, articles, you've saved, those little nuggets of wisdom you've picked up along the way.
Our own little personal libraries.
Exactly. Could an AI someday learn to understand your unique way of thinking just from all that?
That's a fascinating thought, our own personal knowledge bases becoming training grounds for AI.
Right. Okay, but before we get too philosophical, let's dig into some more of those juicy details from the research.
Okay, sounds good.
I love the specifics. What really stood out to you?
Well, remember how we talked about SEALONG, using consistency to figure out the best answer? They actually compared that to a bunch of other ways of scoring those multiple answers, and the results were pretty telling.
Oh, so we're going meta again, evaluating the evaluators. What other methods did they try?
Well, one was just picking an answer randomly, which, as you can imagine, didn't work too well.
Yeah, that's like throwing darts blindfolded.
Then they tried having the AI assess its own answers based on the original question.
So like it's grading its own homework.
Uh-huh, yeah, something like that. It showed some promise, but it wasn't as good as the consistency approach.
Interesting. So even a super smart AI can struggle with a little self-critique.
It seems that way. But they didn't stop there. They even tried using some of those traditional methods for comparing texts, to see if that could help identify the best answers.
So they really explored all the options.
They did, and in the end, that consistency-based method, using that technique we talked about, that was the clear winner.
Consistency is king.
Yeah.
But did they figure out how many of those C-long examples were needed to make a difference?
Yeah, they found that it's actually pretty data efficient.
Data efficient.
Meaning you don't need a ton of examples to see improvements.
So it's not about drowning the AI in data. It's about giving it just the right kind of training.
Exactly, but I know what you're thinking. All this talk about multiple answers, isn't there a risk of ending up with pages and pages of AI-generated text?
Right. No one wants to read a novel just to get an answer.
Uh-huh, I hear you. But the researchers actually looked at that specifically and found that SEALONG didn't really make the answers any longer.
So it's about quality, not quantity.
Exactly. They're focused on making the AI smarter with its words, not just more verbose.
I like that. But we've been talking about AI systems of a certain size, handling a certain amount of text. What about those massive AI models we hear about? The ones with billions of parameters that can process tons of information? Would SEALONG work for those?
That's a great question, and honestly, we don't know for sure yet. It's definitely something researchers are looking into. How well do these methods scale up? How do they perform with truly massive amounts of text? There's still so much to explore.
Okay, so there's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what makes this whole field so exciting, right?
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Yeah.
What can the listener take away from all this? What does it mean for their daily life?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is becoming more and more capable of learning and adapting in ways that we used to think were only possible for humans.
It's almost like AI is becoming self-aware.
In a way, yeah. We're seeing AI systems that can not only process information, but reason about it, critique it, and even refine their own understanding.
It's like AI is going from being a tool to being a partner in learning.
And that partnership has the potential to completely change how we approach knowledge.
Pretty mind-blowing stuff. But I have a feeling we're just getting started.
Oh, definitely. There's so much more to uncover.
So much more to explore. So buckle up, listeners, because this deep dive is about to get even deeper.
It's amazing to think how far AI has come, like how fast it's changing.
Yeah, it's seriously impressive. But like we were saying before, there's another side to all this.
The potential downsides.
Exactly. We can't just get lost in all the cool possibilities without, thinking about the challenges too.
Right, especially when we're talking about AI that can basically learn and improve on its own EM.
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah, we need to be really careful about how we use this tech and what could happen, unintentionally.
Okay, so let's talk about those risks. What are we talking about here? I mean, are we really worried about robots taking over the world? Or is it something more subtle?
I think it's less about, a Hollywood-style robot uprising and more about things like misuse. Even maybe us losing some of our own autonomy if we get too dependent on AI.
Right, like becoming slaves to the machines.
Not exactly, but
Yeah.
as AI gets smarter, we need to stay in control. Make sure it's still working for US and not the other way around.
So it's not about AI becoming evil, it's about us humans needing to be responsible.
Exactly. And one thing to remember is that even those AI systems that can learn and improve, they're still products of their programming and the data they're trained on.
So if the data's messed up, the AI is going to be messed up too.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
If there are biases in that data, those biases are going to show up in the AI's behavior.
Like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And as AI gets more independent, it becomes even more important to make sure that data is good, representative, accurate, and not full of harmful biases.
It's like raising a kid. You want to make sure they're learning from good sources.
Perfect analogy. And just like with kids, we need to keep guiding these AI systems as they develop. We can't just let them run wild.
So it's an ongoing process. We got to stay involved, make sure the AI is learning the right stuff and, making decisions that are actually good for humanity.
Exactly. And that takes planning. We need guidelines for developing AI ways to monitor it and be ready to step in if things go wrong.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But if we get it right, think about the possibilities. AI working with us, helping us solve tough problems, making the world a better place.
That's the goal, right? Using AI to make life better for everyone.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to remembering that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Couldn't agree more. It all depends on us,
We get to decide how AI shapes our future.
And that future, it's not set in stone. It's something we're all creating together right now through the choices we make.
That's a powerful thought. It's up to all of us to be part of this conversation, to think critically about AI and work together to make sure it's a force for good in the world.
Absolutely. This isn't just for tech experts or scientists. It's for everyone.
We need everyone's voice in this.
And as we go forward exploring this new world of AI, the most important thing is to stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
I love that. Always be learning, right?
Exactly. The world of AI is always changing. There's always something new to discover.
It's a never-ending adventure. So on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the world of self-improving AI.
It's been a blast exploring this with you.
And to you, the listener, thanks for joining us. We hope this has sparked some new ideas and, maybe even a little bit of awe at what AI can do.
The future is full of possibilities.
So stay curious, keep those brains buzzing, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.